It's going to be very interesting because in this we'll be talking about the conditional based calculation, which is calculate function. We'll also talk about filter function that we discussed in the previous video. We'll be discussing about same period last year function also. But why all these functions in one single text function? Reason being because here we are going to also understand variable. You can actually assign a variable, and assigning variables in a function is sometimes easier to read the function, and also later on if you visit again onto that function, it will become easier for you to recall everything in a very systematic manner. So I'll show you what is the purpose. The purpose of this calculation, the reason to perform this calculation is to know that how many bikes we have sold last year. Okay, so there are two conditions. First of all, category is supposed to be bikes and it has to be sold last year. So two conditions in one single function. So I'll just keep this one. It's okay, absolutely fine. It's just that I need to create one measure here, right? So let me just go to this all measures table, and here we go. And let me just add a new measure. Now I can put multiple conditions in a calculate function that I have already shown you, right? But along with that, we will be creating variables. But before that, let me just write it in a way that we are doing it so far, and then I'll change it back to the variable part. It will become easier for you to understand. So the purpose is to calculate what? Bikes sold last year. Correct, that is what we need to calculate. So here, what generally, how do we calculate? We can simply say calculate function and then the expression that the total number of or the quantity is sold, right? Total quantity we have, and then the two conditions. Instead of this, you may have realized that here one is mentioned because we are on the first row. I'll press shift and press enter along with this. So I am into the second row now, and I'll press tab. Here I'll say VAR. VAR won't come in the list, but this is a variable. I'll press again shift enter. I can also write it in front of it, but I just making some things organized and clean. So I'll press shift enter and then again a tab key. So a tab key is to indent it so that it will become easier to read. First variable that I need to define here is bikes. Right, the category is supposed to be bikes. Bikes is what I would say the filter function. Remember from the last video, which all categories I'm talking about, only bikes. So from which table we have, it is into the category table, where category name is supposed to be equals to bikes. So this way we've got the bikes as a filter. I'll press shift enter and I can press shift tab just to be aligned into the variable list because I need to assign one more variable. So I'll simply say VAR once again. I'll press shift enter and then again tab, and this time it will be last year. Okay, this is the second condition that we need to use. So you'll notice for last year what we'll say very simple. There is a function in the name of same period last year. Can you see? Returns a set of dates in the current selection from the previous year. Same period last year. And then date is going to be my calendar date. If you see, calendar date, because this is a primary key, right? That's it. So now we have two conditions ready with us. One is bikes and one is last year. I'll press shift enter. And this time because I need to use them into the calculation, I'll say return, right? Shift enter and then tab, and I'll simply perform the calculation here because I have no need to assign a name because name we have already assigned bikes sold last year. So now the calculation is calculate what total order quantity, right? Comma filter is for what? Now bikes. Now look at this. This is very interesting. The moment I'll write bikes, you can see bikes is coming with an XY, this symbol, which is actually not a function, not a measure, nothing. So I'll say bikes, comma, last year, ly, last year, because this variable I have assigned. Now the question comes in our mind that what is the scope of this variable? The scope is limited to this function only. You won't be able to use it in other DEX functions. That's it, and I'll press enter. And look at this, quite easy to read. So I'm just giving you an option, because sometimes you will feel on the internet that how people are writing the DEX function. This is another way people do it. So you can also do it if you like it. And that's it, I've got it. I'll simply cross it because I have pressed enter already. And I'm going to drop it over here into the fields. So that will be, here it is, bikes sold last year. So 4336 were the bikes sold, and total order quantity, we can also drop it to see 84,000 was the total order quantity, out of which 4,336 was the number of bikes sold last year. So I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope you understand a couple of things. We discussed calculate, we discussed filter, we discussed same period last year, and most importantly, we discussed how to write it and use a variable in a DEX function. Right, so thank you.